you're alright, but I'm your darling to enjoy the party. Don't get too excited, cause that's all you'll get from me. Hey, yeah, I think you're cute, but really you should know I just came to say hello.
And hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Sports Talk 920. I am your host, Michael Goodman, and as we're still in the lull of the ball and stick sports, we do have a lot of racing stuff to talk about. I think that's probably one of the only sports right now where things are getting up into high gear, per se. As you look in what's been going on in the NASCAR world right now. Just this past week, I got to go to my first truck race at Eldora, so that was pretty neat to see. We can talk a little bit about that. Of course, Jeff Gordon filling in for Dale Earnhardt Jr. this week at Indy. Tony Stewart's last race. It's going to be a big Brickyard 400, probably one of the biggest ones in many years, as that race has kind of lost a little bit of luster, over the past couple decades that it's been run. So if it can gain some mojo back, that'd be pretty cool to see too. But if you want to join us here in the chat room, give us your ideas here, and you can certainly get your opinions there as well. But again, first off, the truck race at Eldora. Kyle Larson finally coming through and getting into victory lane at Eldora. This was his third attempt out of the four races that have been done there for the Truck Series, and the first two times he was out there, I think it was kind of a microcosm of what he does in the Cup Series too. He's been expected to be the big first time winner for the past, this year. I mean, even back into the tail end of his rookie year, when he was running hot there during the chase months of the 2014 season. He's been there. He has the fast car. He has a car to win the race. Usually, towards the end, he'll do something to kind of mess it up. I remember when he was racing, I think it was Ryan Newman and Austin Dillon the first year, and he kind of just drove over his head a little bit and didn't let the car come to him. Didn't let just his faster car work. He got a little too aggressive and ended up doing more harm than good. And I was kind of waiting for that the other shoe to drop, I guess you can say, because again, we've seen it. We've seen it before so many times. Like I said, probably the first two times he attempted the race at Eldora, and even a lot of times in the Cup Series. I mean, even like the All-Star race. Maybe Dover. I can't remember what quite happened in Dover, but I don't know if that really quite falls into what I'm trying to get at. But just a lot of times where he had these opportunities and maybe not making the best of the opportunities that were placed in front of him. But anyway, he was able to get that done, and part of that too was Brian Pierce, the good late model driver, who it was kind of cool to see him running up front and maybe seeing him get, he finished runner up last year. He kind of pulled off what Kyle Larson had done the previous two times, and maybe he's going to be that guy that's going into the 2017 race at Eldora, that he will be that guy that will finally get off the schneid too, because he was fast all day Wednesday and just unable to get it done, and kind of overdriving the car. And I think he got a little bit scared by what was going on there with the Kyle Larson behind him. Kind of the legend of the dirt for NASCAR, so to speak. But anyway, I'm trying to see myself. I'm watching the replay of the Eldora race. I think we're a little bit too far, but anyway, yeah, just watching that kind of race in the background as we do the show here. So because it was a fun event, it had that dirt track feel to it. Well, obviously it was at a dirt track, but um, it has that look, the true local short track feel to it. That with the heat qualifying races. Um, just even how Tony Stewart did so well. I think even setting up the track as far as made it more like a dirt track. I think Tony Stewart came out saying before, like each year they're getting closer to setting it up as when you go to Eldora or you go to yeah, Shawano Speedway or whatever, your local dirt tracks. These are how they drive. They're getting closer. Before that first year they did it, it was basically an asphalt track. It was hard. It was packed down. You didn't really need to get sideways, and I seen a lot more. The first couple years you watched it, you seen a lot of guys almost just running it as if it were just again an asphalt short track. But I think in this race on Wednesday, I saw almost all the cars get at least a little bit sideways. I don't think you've seen anyone really do the strong approach of not drifting around the corners like you traditionally do on dirt. You've seen a lot more of that, some more than others, and you've seen the kind of the wall riding, which some of the guys like Kyle Larson, the fast guys that were up front, usually did that every year that they've raced here so far. But I think you've seen a lot more guys kind of stick to that top line, kind of bounce off the wall, and not be that big of a deal. Although for guys like Pierce, he might disagree. But yeah, I mean, I think the Truck Series has proved that it's worked. Um, as they say, this is kind of the staple of the Camping World Truck Series, and I know it still kind of holds that prestige of back probably I would say 10 years ago was by far the most competitive sport or the most competitive form of NASCAR racing out there. And really, it's still kind of living off that legend a little bit because I don't know if it still is. I think once you get guys like the Gibbs or Kyle Busch Motorsports, whatever Toyotas, they're by far the best. I don't think you see that parity that you've seen in truck racing in years past. But still, the Truck Series having this race is pretty cool. I don't know. I mean, if anything, maybe add the Xfinity Series to Eldora. I think that would be maybe about it. I don't think the venue, you don't want to, because one thing about Eldora too, I mean, it is like going to a really nice dirt track, but it's not like going to a cup track. It's not overly done. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not a jaw-droppingly awesome venue, I guess you can say. It's just a local dirt track with some nice seats, and it gives you that. It lets you keep that hometown appeal. So there's that. I did see ourselves on the television here, so I might have to snap a picture here for the wife. I had to get a different shirt there. So there's that. But anyway, the Xfinity Series I think you can add because I don't think they don't require the seating capacity of that a Cup track would have. You need a lot of the modern amenities, I guess you can say. Um, but well, if you add the Cup Series, I think then you're asking for probably a bit too much, and I think you'll take away that just local track luster feel to it. So I wouldn't do that. I'd stay away from again getting it too gimmicky or what have you. Um, But just keep it simple. Just keep it the way it is. So again, good for Eldora. So and hopefully Tony, it was kind of cool too. I forgot to mention that too. I'm sorry. I'm just still trying to figure this all out here. Anyway, it was cool. It was cool to it was cool to see Tony Stewart working the track. He's working a lot of um, the I think he was out on the pickup truck during the before the single car qualifying, as far as packing down the track. He was in the grader to grade the track before the feature race. It was kind of cool to see him, be that down to earth guy. And I kind of had, once we saw him and they kind of announced where Tony Stewart was too. You kind of just had to reiterate that to Sarah. It's like, I know when we first met, she hated Tony Stewart, and with that being said, I go to her. I'm like, man, if I'm going to be anyone out on the racetrack, if I could emulate, or not emulate, but if I can relate to anybody out on the racetrack right now, and I think that would be Tony Stewart. I would get, I think, a hard outer shell that would snap easily, but deep down, probably just overall a big teddy bear, and a guy that likes to get his hands dirty a little bit and work, and that's what I like about Tony Stewart. I can relate to that. I heard stories, now working at the GM plant here in Fort Wayne. When he came to visit, he wanted to do work and on the hoist and stuff like that, and work out on the line, because he didn't want to just be up in the offices where a lot of these guys, NASCAR guys or just anyone celebrity type making a tour would be. He wanted to get down there with the hardworking people that do the everyday work. So it was kind of cool to see too. But anyway, speaking of Tony Stewart, he will be making his last Indianapolis 500, maybe, because as like someone else is, he says he's open to maybe doing some fill-in work next year in case the situation happens next year, as we've seen this year with Jeff Gordon now making his return to Indy to fill in for Dale Earnhardt Jr. I know we talked about it last week that this could potentially happen, and now it's going to be happening for the next two races. Again, that's at Pocono and this week at Indianapolis. And it's funny, you get getting the Sirius NASCAR radio back again in my life. Kind of one of the things that sparked me to do one of these shows, because you hear a lot of the opinions that are out there, and how much you can maybe differ from them. So it's just, again, this show is a way for me and Rudy, whenever he gets back on, to get our opinion out there. But just some of these guys that either are so worried that Jeff Gordon is going to get there in this race and not be able to do anything, and really, for one, I heard one guy say Jeff Gordon's good for he's a Hall of Famer, but he's good for nothing except for sweeping the floor with Hendrick, which I'm sure, if anything, Jeff Gordon filling in for Dale Jr. is a bit of an upgrade, to be honest with you.